In today's show, we have another of our popular Dynamite Conspiracies episodes, and we ask, who killed Charlie Kirk?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tayo Boya. Tayo, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you keep it safe and well.
Yeah, what the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh?
Are
I'd
you
like
going
to
to do
say
it? Are you going
hello.
to do it? Yeah!
Don't piss off, Tony. You gotta stop this crap. Okay? You gotta stop this, man. Okay? You know I'm going to do it, so why are you asking? Just to needle me, man. Okay. Hello, audience. Never, ignore Tony and his shenanigans. And I'd like to say hello to, I believe it's one person. I didn't see multiple people, but there's someone in the Philippines in a place called Las Piñas. It's officially the city of Las Piñas, which is a highly urbanized city and has about 615,000 people and is the sixth best place to live according to a 2008 report.
Oh, wow.
So hello to
Sounds
you.
like a great place. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Now, very quickly, there's a controversy about the true origin of the city's name. Some say it is Las Piñas, which is the pineapples. And other people say, no, it's Las Peñas, the rocks. So, since the TNT talk show is known for solving 200-year-old problems and mysteries, I will put it to you. In fact, the TNT show puts it to you that it's very simple. It's based on rocky pineapples. Duh. That's the true origin. Okay, 200 years of controversy solved by the TNT talk show, and you're welcome.
Brilliant. If you are listening in from there, please come back and say hello that we've
Yep.
given you a mention on the show. So, yes, please continue to listen, continue to like, and continue to subscribe on whatever platform you happen to be on. We do appreciate it. And if you do comment, we do get back to you eventually. However, we now have an email address that is now in all the back episodes as well. But for going forward, if you're watching on a video platform, then you'll see Tayo's name changed to the email address, which is tnttalkshow@mail.com. I'll repeat that, tnttalkshow@mail.com. And that's for the benefit of all the people listening just on an audio platform. So yeah, please get in touch via whatever channel you're listening on, but obviously via email as well if you wish. Let us know. Let us know what you think of the topics. Let us know what topics we should cover in going forward, and let us know what annoys you most about Tayo. We'd love to hear that information. Anyway, let's move on with today's show. And we've got another of our popular Dynamite Conspiracies episodes. And it is entitled, Who Killed Charlie Kirk? Now, those of you maybe outside the USA may not even know who Charlie Kirk is. So, Tayo, I'm going to hand the floor to you to first describe who he is and how or why was he killed?
Who he is, or who he was a very influential person who, from I believe it was 2011, started up an organization which is something USA, TP or something. I know the TP is TP USA, but what the TP stands for. Anyway,
I can tell you.
what is it?
It is, hold on, I had it written down on my sheet as well. Good grief. And now I've lost it in front of me. This is what happens when you're doing a live a show like this. You tend to lose information that's right in front of you. But where's it gone?
Okay, so anyway, while
Oh yeah,
starting,
Turning Point USA. There you go.
that's the name, Turning Point USA. And the thing is, he had a way of connecting with young people, specifically a certain type of young person, which was more conservative Christian young people. So, and activist types too. So people who actually got out there and were interested in politics, were involved, and this is exactly what was so dangerous because they're not people who sit at home making podcasts and things. They're people who actually get out there and change the world. And he is
On the
connected to
street,
them. He
indeed.
had
Yeah.
3,500 chapters all across the USA and 600 staff. And I think it was $80 million a year in turnover,
Revenue, yeah.
revenue, which came from donors and so on and so
The
forth.
thing was, wasn't it registered as a charity? So they
Yes,
had
yes.
the 501c4. So that meant that the donors didn't have to reveal themselves, by the
Mm.
way.
I
So
mean,
that
we
was a
kind of
little
knew who
bit,
they were. They weren't
yeah,
actually hiding it. So,
no, but they didn't
and
need to give, they could donate anonymously. And 80 million from donations is a considerable sum.
it is a considerable sum, and yes, well, so so I'm thinking I'm going to sneeze. So hang on. Well, bless me, and very sorry if I
Bless
blow
you.
your head. You're wearing headphones, and that was a bit uncomfortable. It came on very suddenly. Anyway, a lot of people, many people, say that he had quite a lot to do with Donald Trump's, bless me, ooh, Donald Trump's re-election. So influential more than the average Joe kind of influencer on YouTube or whatever. It was a little bit more than that.
But he mobilized the youth. Because, I
That's what
mean,
I'm
let's be
saying.
honest, Trump is an old man.
Mm,
So, because of his traditional Christian views in this organization, he aligned them to Trump's conservatism, which is a
mm,
bit weird. And hence he encouraged the youth that following him to support Trump. So yeah, he was instrumental in getting Trump reelected.
yes. So that's the background, and you can look him up. I mean, he's
Also, didn't he help Trump in the first term?
I well, I don't know if he did. I mean, I don't think he wouldn't not have, but I don't think his influence had grown to that degree back in 2015, wasn't it? It was about 4 years after he had
16.
started.
Right.
No, it was two. Trump went into office in 2016,
That's
but he
right.
ran his campaign in 2015 because it's January 2016 when he take
Right.
office. So your
Right.
campaign is run in
In the year
2015,
before.
the year
Yeah, yeah,
before,
I see.
right? So so he had only been sort of on the go for 4 years at that point.
Still
Complete.
enough influence in that 4 year period because
No,
he's quite
like
a
I said,
good
I don't know.
orator.
Well, I don't know. So
Okay.
that's it. So he goes on. What his sort of shtick is, well, is or was to go onto university campuses and challenge people. Free speech. Come along, tell me why you think I'm wrong. Let me tell you why I think you're wrong. There's trans rights, LGBTQ, all sort of things. He was very much against that sort of thing. And he was willing to defend his views. And all he wanted was to have what he called a free, frank, fair conversation. Let's talk about it. Because I'm not hiding anything, neither should you. And then if we can't, this is probably the most dangerous thing of all. If we can't agree, then let us agree to disagree.
Yes.
Now,
Which is the correct way of doing it, let's be
let's
honest.
not forget that the last person who said, "Hey, love thy neighbor," was nailed to a tree. You can't run around spreading peace, love, and happiness and not expect trouble. And this is where Charlie Kirk ran into issues. He was a very, very firm Israel supporter, and that's why I say when he said something about his donors, I laughed because his donors were, well, they were billionaire Zionists, you know, to put it frankly.
I mean,
So
sorry to interrupt here, but what was the link between Christian nationalism, which is really what this group, Turning Point USA, and Charlie Kirk, the sort of the founding person for it, what was their link to Jewish state and
their
Zionism? I mean, what was their link?
their link is, and there's a name for it. Their link is the the resurrection, no, the return of Christ, which can only happen when the temple has been rebuilt in Jerusalem, the third temple, I believe it's called, and then Jesus will return and bring in, the end of times and a new age of wonder and peace for all Christians. So there is a
But then
name for them.
how do the Jewish people feel about that? Why? You
Well,
see what
they're
I mean?
they're
I don't.
perfectly happy to have people. Well, they sponsor it because the Christian Zionists are the firmer, stronger supporters that keeps the state of Israel going. If they withdraw their support from Israel, Israel is all over. Okay,
But
Israel
why?
doesn't
Why?
exist.
My question is, why do they support Israel in the
Mm,
first place? Because you've got Christians on one side, Jews on the other.
mm.
What's the link there?
The
They're two
link
different
is
things.
the link is what I said, that the Jesus will only come back when the third temple is built. The third temple will be built in Jerusalem by Jews. The Jews have to be in Jerusalem. They have to, if you like, own Israel, because I believe it says it'll be restored. God will restore Israel, and they will rebuild their third temple. That's why there's a red heifer already in Israel waiting for the end of this war so that the heifer can be sacrificed and they can rebuild the third temple. And then at that point, Jesus comes back.
Okay.
Right. So,
What if he doesn't?
well, don't be a heretic, man.
I
I
was
mean,
just asking a question. I'm not
well,
saying he is or he isn't.
thank you. That's a fantastic opening for me to segue. In our Dynamite, is this a Dynamite Conspiracy
It is,
set
yeah.
title, which is a member
It
of the
is.
TNT talk show? Okay, so typically I say things and you poo-poo them and you infuriate me with your sort of hand waving, oh, dismissive. So I've done a lot of research, hours of research, and then in one I would call it one languid wave of your arm, it's all gone up in smoke. And like, look, man, are you gonna smack it one of these days? What
Don't
the hell
do
is the
that.
problem? So what I've done is, instead of coming and saying blah blah blah, I've come with a set of questions, and
Okay.
you'll help me answer the questions, okay?
Okay.
And then
Okay.
maybe
Very
maybe
good.
by the end of it, we'll have figured out what's going on.
Hmm.
So the first question, there are 12 of them, so we have to a bit of a move on. Let's
Okay.
crack on. So here, how powerful is a Mauser Model 98 chambered in 3060? Wrong question. How powerful is the Mauser Model 98 that's got a chamber 3060
What is a mount?
chambered
Is
in
it
it?
you talking a rifle here?
It's a rifle. It's a rifle
Okay.
that by the way, I'll always say the accused because I'm old school. I'm not going to say his name until he has gone into trial and been found guilty. Because everybody's saying he's guilty, say the people are going to say the killer. He is not the killer. He is the accused.
Yes. They have to put
So
evidence
can we
against him, let's be
please
honest.
just
Yeah.
do due diligence and what do you call it, due process?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about that. It's really wrong. He's not the killer. He's the accused. Okay, so the right question is no. So the wrong question is how powerful is that rifle? The right question is who chooses a museum piece rifle for a modern hit job?
Well, first off, is there any evidence that this guy was caught at the scene or the
You're jumping. No, no,
rifle?
just concentrate on who would take a museum piece rifle to go and shoot someone from 150 yards.
Well, we don't know. We don't
We
know
don't
the
know. Okay.
quality of this rifle. Someone could. It's not like beyond the realms of possibility. If they
Hmm.
were an amateur, then they could. But if it was a professional, then clearly not, because it's not up to spec. And there's a
Okay. So
big
so
likelihood of
basically,
missing if that's the
you've
case.
answered the question. It took you a while, but you answered the question. You said an amateur, not a professional. So we've got an amateur.
Indeed.
Okay. So it's not a professional.
Well, we have to assume it's not a professional
Okay. Good.
if that's the weapon of choice.
Hmm.
Although we
Okay.
don't even know that yet, do we?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
So the next question I've got for you is this: did the accused shoot Kirk? Did the accused shoot Kirk I say that's the wrong question. The right question is, how does anyone shoot anything without a rifle, museum piece or not?
Well, you can't.
Exactly. Thank you very much. You can't.
Well, can we
Now,
can
why
we
do I say
context
that?
that? Because we're going to have some listeners out there
Hmm?
who don't know any of the background of what has happened. You've explained who Charlie Kirk is, but you haven't said how or why he was killed and the things that led up to it. And I'd like to sort of frame that first very, very quickly. So our listeners out there are scratching their heads going, what's going on here? I don't understand what's happened. Just so that they got an idea. I mean, I'll quickly
Okay.
précis it if that's all right with you. Just to
The
let you
roof
know,
thing.
yeah, Charlie Kirk was at a Utah university, and he normally goes to different universities to speak to the public, as Ty has already alluded to. And he was shot and killed. And the resulting issue is they've captured footage, film footage of someone running on the rooftop, jumping down from the rooftop and moving into some trees. That's what they've got. And they have pieced together some information saying that this shooter was a 22-year-old. We won't give his name, as Tayo has alluded. He had a rifle, brought it with him, had it hidden on him, and then left it in the trees. And then subsequently, his father saw that video clip and apparently, and I'll put quotes, air quotes, apparently said, "Oh, that looks like my son. I should grass him up to the authorities,"
What
which
does
then
grassing him up mean? That's
grass him up means
British.
I'll hand him in, basically
Yeah.
say, "That's my son. You want to arrest him." And so they've arrested this youth, 22, and they're trying to apportion guilt on him for doing this horrible act, but he's now saying it wasn't him. So is he
Yes.
a patsy? In other words, has he been set up? We don't know. And this is part of the discussion.
Yeah. Very well done. Yes, he was running across the roof. So apparently, Charlie Kirk, was shot from a building and from somebody up on the roof of that building. And there's pretty well, there's a grainy. But it's not too bad. It's okay-ish, average-ish kind of security footage that from a camera that had view of the top of the building at all times. So when the shot, when whoever it was fired the shot that killed Charlie Kirk, we see someone running across the roof to the opposite side of the building, diagonally opposite. It then jumps down and then runs across the car park and into out of shot. And at no point in that time when that person is running is he carrying a rifle. And since the police went up onto the building and went up onto the roof and didn't find a rifle, that's why I'm saying the rights question then is, how does anyone shoot anything without a rifle? Whether or not it's a museum piece is sort of irrelevant. Somebody's trying to make you think about museum pieces and things. That's not the question. How do you shoot someone without a rifle? That's the right question.
Indeed. Because you can clearly see, I mean, I've seen the footage
Hmm.
and please, if our listeners haven't, go online anywhere and just you can search for it, the Charlie Kirk killer, alleged killer footage, and you'll be able to see this figure on a rooftop jump down. And you make a decision for yourself after looking at that footage. Is that person actually carrying a rifle? That's the question. And it didn't look like he's carrying a rifle at all. And but so that's the question really. So if he's not the killer, number one, you do have to ask the question, what the heck was he doing on the roof? Why did
Ah,
he run away after the shooting occurred? That makes it highly suspicious, of course.
everybody was running away after the shooting
They were, but
occurred.
why was he up there?
Ah, well, that's a very good question. But and it's I wouldn't call it a wrong question. It's sort of the right question. No, I think I'll call it the wrong question. Was he up there?
Well, he
Ah,
certainly was on the roof of the building. If that wasn't
well,
him,
certainly.
it was someone was up there.
Thank you.
Okay, we
So,
don't know if it was the alleged
there we go.
perpetrator, but we
There we
know that
go.
it was someone because they hurriedly ran across in line from just after the shooting and jumped down. Now, you're right. We don't know if it's the same accused individual. We're just, well, the law enforcement are assuming it is.
Mm.
Hence, we are assuming it is because they've arrested this young man. However, he
Ah.
is not pleading guilty.
Oh, so here's the thing about that. It's not one of my questions, but I'll take it. I'll deal with it for you. Typically, what happens is there's a crime, the police investigate it, they follow the evidence, they spot the clues, follow the evidence, and then they trace their way to the supposed perpetrator, correct?
Indeed.
That's not what happened in this case when you think about it. What happened in this case was there was a crime and someone ran across a roof. We are not absolutely certain who it is. You can't identify anyone from that video. You've seen it yourself. You can't
No,
identify the
no.
person from the video. And then a phone call comes in from a former law enforcement officer who says, "Hey, I've identified this guy. I think he's my son." So the police come and fetch him. That's how he ended up in custody. They weren't following a chain of evidence. So somebody saying it's him. And then subsequently, there were other things to do, which I'm going to touch on shortly. The Discord messages and the text messages, where apparently the accused confessed everything.
Which is if you do see the transcript, you have to sort of take it with a real pinch of salt because
Pinch?
well, I'll explain. Remember, this accused is a 22-year-old talking to another 22-year-old. Now, those of you out there who have children or know of children of that age, they don't tend to string two sentences together without some euphemism or anything along those lines. But when you see the transcript of this alleged conversation, it didn't look real. I mean, I have sons and I know how they speak. I sometimes speak to them face to face and I don't understand what they're saying because of the language they use and the abbreviations they come up with. So when you're sort of implying that two 22-year-olds were chatting about the murder on a discourse channel and you read the actual transcript, it doesn't look like two 22-year-olds talking to each other. It just simply does not. So you have to question the authenticity of that report, of which subsequently Discord actually reviewed the young man's account and discovered there was no such conversation been recorded. So where did the authorities get this so-called Discord conversation if Discord themselves say they didn't have it, which I find rather strange, to be honest.
You find that strange? Okay. Were you so okay? Why did the let's suppose for a second that the authorities are up to some shenanigans. Why?
Why would they be for a start?
No, 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 don't
Okay.
jump. No, no, no.
All right.
Why would they? Why would they say this? These conversations are on Discord, and I barely know what Discord is myself, but
I know
apparently
what
it's
it
some kind
is.
of go ahead, some
It's
kind of
it's a
chatting
it's
service,
it's a chatting service, but Discord is a gaming platform.
gaming.
And gaming platform. And you
Oh,
can
okay.
do other things on there, but it's a lot of young people on this platform. They discuss games, they can play games on there and communicate with each other and do things along those lines. Discord, I'm not sure who owns the company. It could be an Amazon company, but don't quote me on that. And basically, yeah, it's mainly for game playing, and the young people go on it and chat about games, about new releases, any updates. It's very geeky, that sort of thing. And yeah, and that's mainly it. And clearly, the people on there do not talk in eloquent sentences, should we put it that way?
Mhm. Yes, precisely. Who does that? Now, my question then is this. If it was a conspiracy, if it is a conspiracy, who wouldn't know that Discord would denounce those records? I mean, if you haven't set it up with Discord so that the records would be assigned to the accused, then you know full well that Discord will go, we don't know where these records came from. And yet that was allowed to happen. That to me is a good question to ask.
I don't really know how to answer that. It'd have to be somebody who didn't really know the workings of the platform, surely.
Hmm, maybe. Well, let's just keep all these questions I'm asking. Let's just keep them in mind.
Okay.
Okay. So the next thing is a few hours later in the evening, about 6:30, according to Candace Owens,
Do you
the
want to explain
accused.
who Candace Owens is, just for
Oh,
some
she's just
listeners?
I mean, surely everyone would know her. She's
No, not really.
well, she's a well-known. I'm laughing because I know what Tony's going to say. She's a well-known uh, YouTube.
YouTuber. Hmm.
Well, she was more. She wasn't. I mean, she was on The Wire before. Was it the Daily
The
whatever it
Daily
was?
Wire,
The Daily
yes.
Wire before. So she was already well known. But then they booted her out for turning on Israel, and and she became even more famous, which is why you shouldn't kick people out because sometimes you just give them a bigger audience. She become even more famous now as a YouTuber with about 4.7, nearly 5 million subscribers. So she does investigative journalism.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm laughing is because Tony and I disagree on a very on a very interesting topic that she's pushing, which is that she claims, I'm repeating now, so don't come after me. I'm repeating what Candace Owens has said, and is facing supposedly legal action for in the United States for claiming that Mrs. Emmanuel Macron was born male, was born male. So that's a pretty fantastic thing to assert. And she's got some interesting storytelling techniques. And when you follow the story, I mean, you got to start asking questions. But that's who she is. She like a dog with a bone. She's not going to let go. And I'm going to bring that up later because it's very important. She's like a dog with a bone. She's not going to let it up. And she's like Tucker Carlson, but Carlson is probably even less strident. He knows when to back off, and Candace doesn't know when to back off.
And that's her downfall, unfortunately, which is a shame because she does make some really good points
Hmm.
also along this topic that we're discussing today. So, yeah, although the one with the Macrons, I think she's gone a little bit too far.
We'll see. I mean,
We'll
there's a
see.
court case.
We'll see. There
So
is a
that's a good
court
thing.
case. Well,
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to it because, finally, the court cases in America, if she can get her, what they call in America, I don't know what it's called in British law, and even if we even have it in British law, if she can get into discovery the requirement for a DNA test on, what's the wife's name? Brigitte Macron, then she can get her answer once and for all. And everybody's going to get the answer because it's going to be a court mandated test under very, very tight scrutiny, right?
to be honest, the fact that it's got that far,
The thing is this, it shouldn't have because anybody who's accused of that sort of thing would simply say, like, if you accuse me of being a woman, I'll sue you and just say, let's head off and get a DNA. It shouldn't have gotten this far at all. So it's all very interesting. However, a lot of American lawyers say she's being too dependent on discovery process. That actually, in a defamation case, it's highly likely that the courts will not order that DNA test, and then she might be in trouble.
I think she will be in trouble.
Yeah. So anyway,
Because the Macrons have provided medical evidence, even though it's not DNA, they have provided medical evidence which is quite private, and but they're willing to have done that. Now, if they're willing to go that far and even have the proceedings in the US, it doesn't look like they're hiding much. So she should have seen the danger signs there, and really she should sort of drop the
Do you
case, I
watch her, by the
think.
way?
I do, I do.
Okay. So
You've
did you
you've
watch when she explained what the so-called medical evidence was?
Oh, I didn't see that.
All
I didn't
right.
see that
So
one.
anyway, let's get back onto
Okay,
this
let's
thing
get
because
back to this topic. That's
right.
another one for another
We should
day.
do that one, you know?
Okay, maybe we should. Okay,
So,
let's carry on
so
then.
who? So right. So we've done the museum piece with sorry. How do you shoot anybody without a rifle? Museum piece or not? That sort of thing. Okay. So after murdering, I remember what I was saying. After murdering someone, and you're now the subject of a nationwide manhunt by 6:30 in the evening, right? Who then saunters into
A
a
fast food
chain,
joint.
a
Yeah.
fast food joint, okay? And my, you can ask that question. I said that's the wrong question. Who goes en masse into a coffee shop just hours later? Wrong question. The right question is, what kind of killer orders a milk chocolate latte in the evening? Just waiting. I mean, come on, man. It's just not. That's just come on.
Uh,
I mean, a man. I can't, yeah, yeah.
I mean, let's be frank. That's irrelevant in a
You,
way
you
because
think
no, not the
state of
latter. I
mind,
mean,
man?
I'm talking why he walks. It's a bit. You'd have thought if someone's committed a crime, they would lie low for a while. However, he could be very bold and just hiding in plain sight.
You
That's
go for
that's
coffee, I can understand.
but not a
Milk
latte.
chocolate latte. That's just what you, come on, man.
That
That's
that to me screams of a child,
that's
doesn't it?
begging for it. It's just
That's a
someone,
child, not a
some to
killer.
me, that's someone without a care in the world.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Yeah.
Uh,
No, you're
uh.
right. You're right. It just seems a bit outlandish that someone who would unless they're deranged and they've got some psychological issues, that is something that yeah, they wouldn't normally do. And it wasn't even that far away, was it? It's in the same
Well, if he eats fish
area.
and chips with ketchup, then maybe. I mean, I've heard some people do it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Some people actually put ketchup on pizza.
Oh
Ah,
no, that's against the law.
and
So is
pineapples.
pineapple. No, 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 that is totally against the law. Pineapple fruit on a pizza. Look, if we start discussing that, we'll trash this whole episode. Talk about that only. Let's make sure we stay on point here. Come on.
Okay. All right. So anyway, that was my next one. That's my next the right question to ask. Who orders a milk chocolate latte? Anyway,
It doesn't sound like a killer, does it?
like no, not a lot, not to me. Okay. The next one. Some people say, did the accused write those messages? Because how many Zers or Gen Zers, I don't know, write grammatically correct English? You
Which
just
is
asked
what
that
we
question.
just, which is
No,
what we
not we, you.
discussed. Yeah.
Wrong question.
Why?
The right question is, how many Gen Zers score 34 on the ACT, which is in the 99th percentile, and earn a 4.0 GPA, which is a perfect score, and get a presidential scholarship to university?
Wow. He's an
That's,
elite candidate.
he is a very elite candidate.
Could he have been or is on the autism spectrum?
And more interestingly, which university did he win a scholarship to?
Utah,
Utah State University.
which is the university that this alleged incident occurred. Well, it
Which is
did
the
occur,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he hadn't even been to the campus, had he?
Well, ifs and whens and buts and howsoever's. Candice Owens says he hasn't, and she got, according to her evidence, so I don't know what I haven't seen her that episode yet. But to me, that's still, still sort of the wrong question you're asking there. Because the right question is, isn't it interesting that Utah State University is renowned for its CIA slash Mossad sponsored intelligence program?
It's one of their primary recruiting centers.
Yes, and run a very advanced masters in
Intelligence
intelligence
services. Yeah.
services.
They call it
right?
security services, don't they? But it's actually
Uh,
intelligence.
Run by former CIA staff
Operatives,
and
yeah.
operatives and moneyed by and with cooperation from Mossad. So that's something interesting.
Whether that's linked to the actual killing is neither here nor there.
Well,
That's a
it's just
segue
interesting.
almost.
It's just a nice
But it's an
question. It's just a question
interesting.
to ask, isn't it? At a
It
point like
is,
this,
it is. But you could be making a a link where there
I'm not
isn't
making
one.
anything. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, but the fact that you've put it out there in the ether
No,
is making a
I'm
link.
allowed to ask questions. I mean, I'm just finding it
You are,
interesting.
but you're by implication,
I'm not
it's
implying
not
anything.
no. Okay.
I'm not implying anything.
All
It's
right.
just if there wasn't such a program at that university, I wouldn't have mentioned it. But because there is, I thought, oh, that's interesting.
It is,
Hmm.
but doesn't
So very
lead
well.
to anything
No,
so
no,
far
no,
of what
no, it
we've
doesn't.
talked about.
It absolutely doesn't mean anything because all I'm doing is asking questions. So none of this means anything. It's just kind of like if I was writing a book, one of the elements I'd put into this book would have been a CIA slash Mossad sponsored intelligence program at the university to sell the story. Do you see what I mean? But
Mm,
it doesn't mean that that's what happened at all.
okay.
Okay, here's a longish one. So
How old was Charlie Kirk when he died, by the way?
30,
31. So he's not old.
36, was it? Or
No, his
34?
wife's 36.
Yeah,
He's 31.
okay. All right.
Yeah, well, 31. That's right. Yeah, because he was a few years younger than her. Yeah, but they had two children.
Hmm. Not sure I see the relevance. Why are you linking that?
I've just, like you did. You
Oh,
mentioned the
okay. Just
CIA. I've just mentioned his family. So
excellent.
yeah.
So, did the cops really find the accused DNA on a towel? Wrong question. Here's what we're told: 10-step program to how to murder Charlie Kirk. One,
What do you mean a 10-step program? What is this? Sorry.
this is what the authorities are telling us happened.
Okay.
This is their story.
Their story. Okay.
One, you disassemble the rifle.
Who? After the shot was taken.
No, 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 no. You start at home. You disassemble the rifle.
Okay.
You carry it
Using
wrapped.
what material? How do you disassemble it? Does
Well,
it come apart by turning, or do you have to unscrew
you
anything?
don't have
Or
to unscrew it with screwdrivers and a turner key.
okay, so you need to have some equipment. Okay, so
Yes.
you unscrew it, and you what happens? You
Then
put it
you
in a
wrap
backpack.
it in a terry cloth in a duffel bag, and you carry it off to the up to the rooftop.
Okay,
Oh, this is number three. Assemble it on the rooftop.
okay,
Number four, you shoot Charlie Kirk.
okay.
Number five, you disassemble the rifle again.
How long does it take to disassemble or
The
assemble?
fastest an expert did it on YouTube was 55 seconds.
So
But
we have to assume that this perpetrator, if it was indeed him, was never as good as an expert, but would have had to disassemble the rifle once again, which would take longer than 55 seconds,
yes.
if indeed he did it at all. But
Well,
okay,
if the accused did it, somebody did it. If whatever that person running across the roof, if that person did it, he'd have had to disassemble the rifle again.
okay.
So you put it back in the duffel bag, wrapped in a terry cloth or not. Reports are inconsistent. Number seven, you run across the roof and then you drop down onto the ground with this
Which
thing in
we've
your
got
duffel bag.
evidence for. So there
Yep.
is that bit is actually true. Somebody ran across the top of the building and then jumped down, although there's no evidence of any gun. So if this report from the FBI is correct, he disassembled the gun while he was on the roof, placed it in his rucksack, and then ran down and disappeared.
Yes.
How isn't there the footage from the security camera?
Mm-hmm.
You said at the start of the show it could see the rooftop in its entirety.
I'm
So,
getting to that. This is
oh,
number
okay,
five.
okay,
Okay. So he runs off. So he jumps down and runs off into the woods.
yeah.
When he gets there, he takes the rifle out of the duffel bag and he reassembles it.
Why would he do that?
That's the right question. He wrapped it up in the terry cloth and left it in the woods.
I've seen the woods. They're like five trees.
Well, like I said, I'm going to get to that. So,
It's not
so,
woods, is it?
so yes.
Like
So
five trees in
I
someone's
think
back garden.
you've already taken the wind out of my sails by asking the right questions. Who the hell would have done that? Well done, well spotted. Absolutely, that was the right question to ask.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next thing. Did those bullets really belong to the accused?
What do you mean those bullets? Sorry.
Okay, so
What
these
bullets
are
have
bullets
been
for the 30, the 30, the 30. Now, there's a way that the gun people talk of it. I think they say 30 dot 60 or something.
no dot 30, isn't it?
Okay, dot 30 something 60, right? So the way this, I can't say it. So I'm just going to say the way it's written, which
Okay.
is dot 30 dash 06.
Okay.
See, have you seen that? This is a massive,
I know. If it's that, yeah,
huge, right?
huge.
I mean, so the question then becomes, did those massive bullets, which supposedly had engravings on them and whatnot, fancy artwork on them, really belong to the accused? Wrong question. The right question is, could such a bullet fail to cause massive damage even from 150 yards? That's the right question. Have we even got the right kind of bullets? I mean, apparently, they didn't even exit the body.
That what I've seen is particular nonsense. If it was alleged, if it was genuinely that bullet has been fired before and gone through three layers of concrete slabs.
Yep.
So and destroyed them because of the size of the bullet. The bullet is what 3 inches long, something like that, if not longer.
It's the only thing that you'd be comfortable with facing up with a bear, a grizzly, because other smaller
Guns would not do anything with a
bullets
bear.
would just annoy the bear, and it'll.
Yeah, whereas this one could cause the bear some damage.
This one, if you have, yeah, it's yeah,
So how could the bullet not have actually passed through Charlie Kirk and left a real mess? Because it's designed to do that. See, part of the problem, what tends to happen when you fire a bullet, the bullet tends to ricochet off the bones. It
mm-hmm,
doesn't stay in the body, it just exits out of a different location. And depending on the bullet, depends on the damage that's caused within the body. The bigger the bullet, the worse the damage, but it just shatters things. And but it can move direction slightly as it comes into contact with the bones in the body. Very rarely does it go straight through, misses bones completely and out the other side. It can happen and it does. And people are very fortunate when that happens because the wound is cleaner because it's gone through and then out the other side without actually coming into contact with the bones. But more often than not, because of the bones we've got in our body, is going to hit a bone at some point, and that then ricochets off, but also mashes the bone. The surrounding tissue gets affected. Big exit holes appear in the body. Sorry for the gruesome nature of the description, but that is what you would expect from that size bullet. But that's not what we saw from the actual footage of Charlie Kirk's killing.
exactly. Not so, but then did you hear what the coroner said?
I
Oh,
didn't even know there was a coroner's report. There'd been a bit of a
well,
delay about.
this was before. He's not speaking. He was speaking before anti the autopsy. What he had
Okay.
examined the body, and he said, "Oh, Charlie had he used a term which I can't remember now, something that you get from Marvel Comics. Uh,
Superman bones.
well, something was that what he said? He used some
Something
kind of
Iron Man
something like
bones.
Iron Man bones or something like that. And oh, Charlie's last miracle was that his bone structure was so dense and perfect that it prevented the bullet from harming anyone else.
Yeah, because the size of the bullet would have gone through his body, damaged his body, hurt him, killed him. But the
What's
power of that bullet would have still continued on, and
mm,
anyone in his vicinity could have been hit by the same bullet because it's such a big beast.
it's a gun. It's a round. The bullet is a round used to bring down elk, moose, and a grizzly bear. And so no human's bone structure, no matter how perfect, is going to be as dense and as tough
No,
as those creatures.
animals, yeah.
So that's interesting, thing. Just gamers asking questions, right? Okay. How lucky were police to find the rifle in a wooded area? Wrong question. The right question is, why is law enforcement calling a chicken coop a wooded area? It was a chicken coop behind an unoccupied house. Now, campuses have got houses for staff. This particular house was a staff house, residential house, but there's no one living there presently until whatever position gets filled and somebody moves in. So there's a chicken coop at the back of the house near some trees, and that's what they were describing as a wooded area. Why would law enforcement call a chicken coop a wooded area?
Don't know.
Yep.
Doesn't really. It should have said some trees at best. It wasn't really a wood, was it?
It wasn't a wood, and it really was a chicken leaned up against the chicken coop is what I understand. So why do you mention trees at all?
Well, the point is, if you were a murderer, you wouldn't leave your weapon that you've allegedly killed someone with, which is still questionable via what we've discussed here today. You wouldn't leave it in plain sight, which is basically what that was. I bet you could see the chicken coop just from the road that was nearby. And I bet you wouldn't say it's not even hidden. It's almost like, well, here it is waiting to be found. That to me is what was going on here. It wasn't hidden. You'd bury it if you had the time for a fact, or you'd throw it in the lake or in a river or somewhere, body of water, make it harder to be found. You wouldn't just leave it above ground amongst a handful of trees. That's not hiding it. So to me, that bit itself was really, really questionable because it's almost like, well, let's put it somewhere that can still be found relatively easily.
Hmm.
And that's not the motive of somebody who's just murdered somebody.
All right, agreed. Okay. Anyway, making progress here. Next question. And you asked, I told you I'd answer this later. I'd circle back to this because you were saying something, if you recall, about didn't the camera have a complete
Yes, of the
view
whole
of the
rooftop.
whole
Yeah, but
rooftop?
they didn't show it all, did they? They just showed the clip that was shared with everybody else was the guy running on the rooftop. But
Right.
if he'd taken the shot from that rooftop, that
Mm-hmm.
should have been in the video itself. But the FBI have chosen not to release that for some reason, which is a bit strange.
It's very strange because it's very strange for two reasons. Number one, which you sort of asked, you pointed to it, but I said no, we'll leave it until later. You did ask, you said, how long does it take to reassemble the rifle? And I said an expert did it in about 55 seconds. Right?
Yep.
So from the time of the gunshot to the time that the clip starts of this chap running across, when I say this chap, I don't mean the accused, by the way, of some guy
Yep.
running
Running
across
across
the
that
roof,
rooftop. Yep.
the time elapsed is guess how long?
I don't know, actually.
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
3 seconds. So that's why I was telling you when you said, who's running, I said everybody was running. There's a gunshot, other people run, and you start running. It's just you know how it is. If you wanted, let's say it's some, just for speculation's sake, okay? It's some innocent person. For some reason, he likes going onto the roof. He thought he'd get the best vantage point to watch the goings on, be out of it, not be in the crowd, sort of thing. Then there's a gunshot and people start running, and he runs too.
Yeah, indeed, he would.
Okay, so far it's typical behavior, right? Apart from
Yep.
why the hell are you up on the roof, kind of thing. So if that's the case, the question then, why did you cut out the 3 seconds? That's not. I don't want you to concentrate on that. I want you to concentrate on the fact that we would know eventually that you cut out 3 seconds. We would know that this story is BS, but
Yeah.
you're happy to let us know. You want us to know. That's the question.
So you think that this was was done on purpose so that our hang on, you're trying to imply that they left the 3 seconds out on purpose so that we would eventually notice and go, "Hey, where's the 3 seconds?" Because
Yes,
it's too simple.
everything I've been pointing to so far is, hey, there's something weird here that's been done, in my opinion. And I'm asking, isn't that a pattern? That there's a pattern that, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it then. Yeah. Well, whilst we're talking about it, what are we not doing?
We're not actually trying to find the real culprit.
Mm,
So, are you saying that this is a conspiracy in a conspiracy? Are you saying that there's some people in the FBI have purposely left those 3 seconds out to lead us either astray or know full well that the public are, certain members of the public are savvy enough to question that 3 second, but in so doing, they're sort of leaving a thread for people to follow and say, well, actually, there's more to this. Keep following because we will eventually reveal who the real perpetrators are.
isn't that how misdirection works?
It is, but it's too clear and obvious because someone would have worked that out and they have. Everybody's 3 seconds. Why was it left out? It's one of the first questions. If you've got the shooter was indeed the shooter, this is just this is nonsense because if those 3 seconds show that it's just a young man on a roof and nothing to do with the shooter, then you have to look elsewhere and go, who was the shooter then?
Well, nobody wants you to be doing that. The serious-minded people don't want you to be doing that. The serious-minded people want you to be interested in other things.
So concentrate on this charade and try and tear it apart when in reality there's some other.
And give yourself props for tearing it apart and go, ha! How clever am I? There's something funny going on. And then it just kind of dies out from there. But hey, this is all just asking questions, right? So let me ask you another one. Why haven't we heard? Because the first thing that professionals would do, I'm told, professional investigators would do, is check the accused for gunshot residue. It's such a standard part of investigating of murder by firearms because gunshot residue is so hard to defend from. It gets into the skin and it stays there for hours, and it's really reliable. The tests are really, really reliable.
They haven't
So,
done that. They haven't checked his clothes. They haven't done anything. It's
so
just, yeah.
if the loudest noise now is over whether there's a conspiracy, why does nobody ask who gains from keeping it exactly this noisy?
Well, who does gain?
Hmm. That leads me to the next question. Candace Owens tells us that the accused isn't suicidal. Is she right? Wrong question. Right question, which, again, you kind of beat me to it. Candace Owens has said many dangerous things that would be catastrophic for conspirators if true, yet she remains unharmed. So, whose useful idiot is she
Is
really?
she? Oh, I see. So you're thinking that because she's there, they're letting her perpetuate.
Feeding her.
Oh, I
Feeding
see.
her.
Actually, she thinks she's getting reliable information when in fact it's information that's been given to her to fuel this continued conspiracy in a different direction.
You know, there's this thing, Pidgin English in Nigeria, we speak Pidgin English, and there's this lovely, lovely thing we say in Pidgin English. Can man die? Can man bury him?
What does that
Right?
mean?
A cunning man died. It was a cunning man who buried him.
Okay.
In other words, Candace Owens thinks she's clever, but there's someone cleverer.
Yeah. feeding her information that she thinks it's a good source of information that she can rely on, when in fact it's someone puppet
Serving a
master
different,
moving the strings.
precisely.
Interesting. A bit like things that have happened in the past where Secret Service have provided people in power with information only for it to be false,
Hmm.
which has
Which
led them to make decisions that were
to me
based on that information and
is
turned out
treason
to
and should
be.
be returned death penalty for that. That's
Mm.
treason. Right.
Well,
Well, I'm
wrong
getting to the end of
intelligence, it's
my.
normally worse. It's normally referred to as.
Sorry?
It's normally referred to as wrong intelligence, isn't it? Because if you look back at the Iraq war,
Yes, weapons of mass destruction.
weapons of
But
mass
I thought they knew
destruction.
that. I mean, look, I was in Nigeria at the time and I knew it was a load of baloney. So if I knew that living in Nigeria, no access to it,
Well, how
it
did you
doesn't.
know that? How did you
Well,
know that?
because Saddam Hussein had no way of getting the blooming thing. There was these country doesn't naturally have radioactive materials. He had to get it from somewhere. Where was this somewhere was going to give it to the Pakistanis were going to give it to him. The who else was going to give it to him? That would have it. India wouldn't give it to him. Sudan, the area where he could have maybe gotten it from, they were too weak and too infiltrated by not just infiltrated, they were run at that time by the French. Sorry, is it the French? Uh, well, by Western powers anyway, Sudan, because they were in the middle of their own civil war. Remember, with the South and North Sudan. You got to ask, what's the source? Where does this thing come from? And then he's got centrifuges. Where are they? Where's the power? We've got power outages. So where's the power to run these centrifuges? The whole thing was where you miss out. You got scuds. You blow yourself up with the blooming scuds. Never mind the person you're shooting at, firing them off at. It was all an excuse to do something. It was just to get on the oil, to get to the oil, like they want to do to Venezuela now.
Indeed, their oil's quite unique, actually.
Mm.
Same with where was it Algeria? No, not Algeria. Where was what's his name that was killed? You
Oh,
just
Libya.
said. Yeah, Libya. Libya, that was
Mm.
it. Their oil is very similar to Venezuelan oil. It's slightly more viscous, it's thinner
Mm.
than other oil, and it's used for other things. So apparently not all oil is used for the same thing. Different types of oil are better
Mm.
for different other appliances in industry, and Venezuelan oil and Libyan oil match that sort of criteria. So it's thinner, more viscous, and better suited for other types of industry. I mean, you can get the regular oil to do that, but it's very costly to do. So when the oil that you're pumping out the ground
It's
is
very
already quite
heavy, is
viscous,
what you're
yeah,
saying. It's very heavy oil. So
it
because it's very heavy, you can crack it, and each time you crack it, each time you at a different level, cracking level, you extract different things from it, plastics and this and that, and all sorts of goodies. So it's actually quite good oil if you want things that don't end up being diesel and petrol, because by that time you spend so much money cracking it for this and that that your diesel or petrol is quite expensive. So Nigerian oil is called sweet light crude or something. It's called sweet light, because it's easy to get diesel and petrol. Well, when I say easy, relatively easy as compared to these other heavier crudes. But heavier crudes, those are the things that give us all the good stuff that we don't put into our tanks.
Can I ask a question? We're getting to the top of the hour, but I want to ask a question. The parents who are supposed to have grassed up this young man
Mm.
by virtue of seeing him on the video and saying, well, it looks like my son, let's sort of shop him and get into the authorities, so to speak. Have the parents actually spoken to any media outlets to
I've heard
implicate their son?
secondhand that Candace Owens claims that the father says he didn't shop him, but I haven't watched the episode, so I don't know.
So this claim that the FBI have said that it was the accused's parents who brought him in is a lie.
Well, we can't
They-
say that at this point. I don't know. I haven't heard what Candace Owens is claiming, so I don't know what the claim is. But all I heard secondhand is somebody saying she said that she's got something to reveal and will be shocked because it's not the father who shopped him. So I don't know what's going on there.
It is rather murky, isn't it? It does see it just smell a rat. I mean, we have got to the top of the hour, so we
Well,
really
I
do
I
need
want to
to
finish my last
summarize.
question then.
Okay, but I also want to know who you think is the culprit then, if it isn't this young man.
Oh, I don't know. Here's it. Here it is. Did the
Okay.
Israelis do it? Wrong question. The right question is who bombs hospitals? Who bombs mosques while the people inside are praying? Who starves children to death, for God's sakes? Who decapitates and has a solid history of assassinating powerful people it deems a real danger to itself? And since we're asking the right question, who killed JFK?
I have no opinion on that comment, and I'm not putting any accusations on anyone because we just don't have any information to back any of this up. So, this is a Dynamite Conspiracy show, but we have reached the end of the show. If you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexpected twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo, and we are the TNT Talk Show. But unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.